Welcome back to Thursday Talk series, which stands for Teaching and Learning Conversations, where we are picking up on the final episode of the Engaging with Body Language, the Silent Language of Learning series. I'm your host, Shay Johnson, and today we're talking about how to use body language to create a welcoming and inclusive classroom environment. But wait, if you've missed part one of this series, which covered decoding nonverbal cues in week one and enhancing instructor presence in week two, where we explored how your body language as an instructor can greatly influence students' perceptions and engagement, then go back to those two episodes first and then meet me here. Ready to dig into creating a welcoming and inclusive classroom environment? Great, let's do it. The way we communicate nonverbally plays a huge role in making students feel comfortable, respected, and included. As instructors, it's crucial that we are aware of how our body language can either foster or hinder a positive classroom climate. Let's dive into some key areas. Recognize and address unconscious bias. It's easy to unintentionally convey biases through body language. Think of the students who you make eye contact with. Oftentimes, it's the ones who also make eye contact with you and give you positive nonverbal affirmations, or the students you stand closer to. Now, sometimes it's to use your body to take up space, sometimes as a comfort, and other times as a form of control to nonverbally send warnings and or the quote unquote, I see what you're doing message. You know the messages I'm talking about. Well, think of how you respond to different students, maybe affirming to some students and possibly hesitant to others. You're human. These things happen, and oftentimes unconsciously. But that doesn't mean that there isn't room for improvement. We all have room for improvement. And being mindful of those biases when interacting with students and actively working to overcome them is essential for creating an inclusive environment. Now let's talk about promoting cultural sensitivity. Different cultures have different norms when it comes to body language. For instance, direct eye contact may be seen as assertive in some cultures and disrespectful in others. Understanding these nuances can help you better connect with students from diverse backgrounds. Always remember that you cannot communicate well and engage with people without understanding their culture, and you cannot understand culture without understanding communication practices and needs. Next, let's look at fostering positive interactions. You want to be sure to use open body language, like uncrossed arms and forward-leaning posture, to signal that you're approachable and interested in what all students have to say. This encourages participation and shows that you value everyone's input. Next, building rapport through consistent engagement. You want to consistently use positive body language, such as nodding to show understanding or smiling to acknowledge good points. It helps to build rapport and trust with your students. This is also a good opportunity to help students learn about you and appropriately assign meaning to your style of communication as well. So if you tend to pause without speaking or maybe shift your eyes towards the ceiling when you're thinking, sharing this information with your students will help them understand your communication practice and correctly assign meaning to your processing phase, opposed to misinterpreting it as judgment towards them and their responses towards you. This could help prevent them shutting down in their communication when they can just understand that you're processing before you respond back. Next, let's talk about increasing participation. You want to encourage participation by actively engaging with students through inclusive gestures. For example, invite quieter students to contribute by making eye contact and subtly encouraging them with a nod or a smile. And when students engage, provide them with positive nonverbal reinforcement, such as giving them your attention in forward posture and encouraging nods to complement your verbal messages. Creating a welcoming and inclusive classroom is about more than just what you say. It's about how you say it and the signals you send through your body language. By being mindful of these nonverbal cues, you can create a more inclusive, engaging, and supportive learning environment. Now, we've just covered some areas of focus, but you know me by now. It's not enough to get insight to information without applying it. So I have a task for you to complete this week as you work to practice creating a welcoming and inclusive classroom environment. Your task is a mini inclusive communication assessment. Are you ready? Good. This is a 5-step process. You will do a self-assessment, conduct an inclusivity check, solicit feedback, analyze the feedback, and plan and implement changes. So, You're going to choose one of your upcoming classes to focus on for this exercise. First, you'll complete a self-assessment. Reflect on your own body language and interactions with students. Are there any unconscious biases in who you make eye contact with, how you position yourself in the classroom, or who you call on most frequently? Next, conduct an inclusivity check. During this class, consciously use inclusive body language. Make eye contact with all students, not just your regular ones. Maintain open and welcoming posture, and use gestures to invite participation from everyone. Then solicit feedback. Create an anonymous survey for students to complete after class. It could be like their exit ticket, where once they complete it, they can go. Ask how comfortable and included they feel in the classroom. Include questions about whether they feel equally encouraged to participate or whether your body language contributes to the environment. Remember, if you want to get the most honest feedback, allow students to do it anonymously. So don't have a line for names and ask them not to include it. You can even put a basket at the door or a pile at the door where they can include their feedback without it seeming to expose who they were when they exited. Next, you'll analyze the feedback you receive. With an open mind, review the survey responses to identify any areas for improvement in your body language and classroom interactions. Then finally, you will plan and implement changes. Based on this feedback, plan 1 or 2 specific changes to make your classroom more inclusive. Implement these changes in the next class and continue to refine your approach. Please note, you can repeat the exit feedback checks after a few class sessions to see if your student experience is changing and areas of development that exist. Well, friends, that wraps up this episode of creating a welcoming and inclusive classroom environment, as well as this series on engaging with body language, the silent language of learning. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the silent language of learning. I hope these episodes have provided valuable insights into how you can use body language to enhance your teaching and connect more deeply with your students. If there are topics you would like to see covered on our Thursday talks, please email us at cai@tamusa.edu. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep teaching, keep learning, keep being the change, and keep having talks. Teaching and learning conversations, that is. Until next time, bye.